With regard, by the way, to the whole when is the season going to start, just for anyone that has missed this along the way, Adrian Wojnarowski, Sham Sharania, they're both sending out tweets left and right. These are the news breakers that we tend to talk about. And Woj putting out, this is 2 days ago, ESPN sources for the fourth time, NBA and the Players Association agree to extend the deadline to serve notice on terminating the current collective bargaining agreement. The extension goes to November 6th now, which allows additional time for talks on CBA modifications. To sessions ongoing this weekend. So, that just in the last couple of days here. And then still a gulf between the NBA and the PA on a start date for the season. NBA wants pre-Christmas. The PA still preferring mid-January, maybe right around Martin Luther King Day, which has been widely reported. Economic issues remain significant, including escrow withholding on player salaries with revenue down because of no fans. So, again, we're not guys that are, we have inside information with regard to reporting like when ultimately this is going to happen. When they came out with the date, though, Dan, of January 18th, Martin Luther King Day, that made a lot of sense to me. Like December 1st, back when that was out there, when Adam Silver, commissioner of the NBA, put that out there, I never believed that for a second. Even when they said Christmas Day, let's start Christmas, that seemed early to me. And then you get into mid to late January, that started to make some sense. Just in regard to, I know not every team went into the bubble clearly, but those who did and those who went deep into the playoffs, like the teams that, just wrapped up the finals not long ago, the Lakers and Heat, you got to give them some type of an offseason, some type of a gap. And I know they want to get underway and they want to have as full a season as possible. And there are reports out there of a 72-game season, and all of that still is up for debate. And, can we get done in time for guys to participate in the Olympics? Is there going to be a midseason tournament? Do we put out the first half schedule and then feel everything out and a second half schedule? We're going to go in the bubble. Are we going to be in home arenas? When are fans going to be allowed in? There are so many things that nobody has the answers to. I don't, and I have felt this way for a while. I continue to feel this way. December to me just seems very unrealistic. I think we're looking at January 1, best case scenario. But how do you view this with regard to when this thing is going to tip off?
Yeah, it's really interesting because if you remember dating back to when the bubble was going on and they asked Adam Silver about, a pre-January deadline, he was very quick to sort of shut that down. Then I don't know what happened. Maybe it was the final revenue numbers came in or the TV partners were putting pressure on him. Now all of a sudden you heard about this pre-Christmas date, which then Mark Stein a few weeks later said training camps would open on December 1st. Well, the draft is November 18th. So you have like 12 days to do the draft, free agency, trades, all that stuff before training camp. And it would only give the teams in the finals 50 days of an offseason, which I just can't wrap my head around. So I'm of the opinion that we'll probably be closer to, middle of January. But the problem is, and why extending this CBA is so important, is because if the NBA is going to push back and say, okay, we'll start that late, but you're only getting 50 games, and the players want 72 games, they could just rip up the CBA, and now we have a lockout. So it's like, I don't think there's really enough talk about, they do need to, rectify this, issue with the current CBA and get that ironed out. Because if not, what's to stop them from just, having another lockout, and now we don't have games, who knows when, because the season schedule is going to be all messed up. So I'm hoping it's January. I think, maybe there was a little negotiating in the media with all these leaks coming out of a, December start. But you have to be, the biggest stars in the league play deep into, this fall. So are you really going to start a season and then maybe LeBron or Jimmy Butler or other people like that are just going to take the first month off? That's going to kill, the ratings and the interest around the league. So it's a fascinating situation, but I do not think we're going to have basketball in, 5 weeks or anything.
I agree with that. I think, Adam Silver's done a nice job of trying to appease all the people involved with this. I mean, you have TV rights and stadium deals and all that. There's so many people involved. There's so much money flying around that I think Adam Silver understands that, okay, we have to find ways to compromise. We saw how baseball handled their scheduling issues over the summer, and they got ripped apart every single day in the media for not having a plan at all when, you had basketball and hockey, shutting down midseason, trying to figure out what to do on the fly. Have those two leagues accomplished what they were able to accomplish? Meanwhile, Major League Baseball Had no idea. It kept going further and further and further in terms of games being canceled, and that date, the start date of the year, got moved a billion times, and everybody couldn't believe that there was no plan there. So I think the one thing that we'll say to Silver's credit is there's at least going to be a plan. And I think, ripping that date up and moving it back to November 6th wouldn't shock me if it's moved back again. But at the end of the day, I do think they'll find a way to compromise between the before Christmas and Martin Luther King Day. I think they'll find some sort of medium in between the two. I don't think we'll play basketball in 2020 again. I think we'll wait till 2021. I think that, as Dan pointed out, like, you can't have these teams have the draft, free agency, trades in 2 weeks, then expect them to get the ball out there to start training camp in 2 weeks. It's just not a timetable that's going to work for anybody. So the more time you give some of these players, get acclimated, get them settled, and then they can have a legitimate training camp, and maybe they can have a couple of scrimmages before the season starts, and then start playing games maybe the first or second week in January, then we might have something that seems a little more concrete. I think the pre-Christmas thing, I think a lot of people are like, oh, we have to have the NBA on Christmas, that's the day, right? I think that's as much as people want it to happen. I don't think you're going to see basketball on Christmas this year, and that's going to be the best, I think, for everybody. I mean,
I know what drives all of this. It's the same thing that drove the bubble. It's
money.
It's revenue. It's making money. It's wanting to get as much as you can from your various media partners, and that's the incentive behind having NBA basketball on Christmas. It's a huge revenue generator, obviously, and not to cut you off, Evan, I apologize.
No, that's a fair point.
That's what it comes down to. And look, I might have said NBA finals in August earlier, starting off the show. I don't know what's up, what's down at this point, but just talking through this whole day.
Still March, so it's okay.
Yeah, look, seriously, it's 3 weeks. Like 3 weeks ago, we had NBA basketball at this point, and now we're talking about starting in a matter of a month and a half. I mean, no. I mean, all three of us are gigantic NBA fans. So I will only speak for me, but you guys weigh in. I'm not ready. I know.
I'm ready.
I'm ready. No, I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm with Grady. I'm ready.
No, it's ready. Tip it off tomorrow. Let's get a look at the Celtics. We're ready. I'm not ready. Maybe it's just because September was in October too, the start of this month, or last month, I guess at this point, it's November 1st, but we're just so insane with regard to the influx and return of sports. And, we'll never have a period of time theoretically like that again, obviously all brought on by the pandemic and not having anything for a period of 4 months to now we're okay. It's baseball's done. The World Series is complete. It's really, all due respect to PGA and UFC. It's really just NFL right now, and will be for the next little while. I'm good waiting for New Year's for the NBA. I don't need it tomorrow. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Maybe it's just me.